Hey y'all, I'm Jacole. This is my first video. For those that don't know me, that are not friends and Facebook friends and Instagram buddies, I was inspired by my experiences with the subject of today is going to be, or tonight is going to be molestation, rape. This is a subject I know nobody wants to touch on. I know it still has that vendetta, sweeping it under the rug. It still has that energy behind it, that negative outlook. And I understand it because it comes from history and how the world still views women in their vanity. And shall you be faced with something so violating as rape or molestation? First of all, let me say this. I couldn't go to sleep. I couldn't go another day without addressing this. I do a lot of research. I watch a lot of videos of inspiration on YouTube. This is my first video. I'm not even used to looking in the camera. I didn't want to put on makeup. I didn't want to, I'm in my nightgown right now, particularly, not to be uncovering. I'm totally undressed. This is what I have on my gown and my rag, because I don't want to come to you with any distractions besides what I'm saying. I'm not even going to turn the light on. The point I'm making is that if you ever should have to be faced with something so horrible like rape, like molestation, like being violated, whether you're a girl or a boy, this happens to a lot of women, but I'm including men on this too. You are not your body. You are not the skin. People who are you going to willingly let get close to you are going to violate you. That will be worse. You're not your body. You're not your physical existence. That's what I'm saying. You're not your hair. You are not the scars on your body, the teeth in your mouth. You're not your beautiful lips. You're not your ugly nose. You're not your short hair. You're not your curly hair. You're not your beautiful skin. You're not your outer anything. You're not the way you dress. And nobody has the right to violate you. But shall you be faced with this? Please remember that. The soul that wants to live will live. I've been faced with it. I moved here to Atlanta a year ago from Houston, Texas. 2 or 3 jobs fell through. Things didn't work out. While waiting to start the post office, I ended up at a shelter after living in my car for a few weeks. And some of my friends still don't know this. Some of them do, some of them don't. I haven't told them. And so, in the shelter, just carrying on regular conversations, black, white, and indifferent, all have, most of them have experienced molestation. Some of these people younger than me. So this is still a highly active crime that, out of all the things I see on CNN, a lot of things I see on the news, is probably one of the least talked about. And one of the crimes that seem to always be a two-way crime. I don't care if you're at a party and you've had a drink and you had some marijuana and you go in a room with a guy, and the minute you say no, if he or she, or I don't know how a girl can hold a guy down, but I'm just saying, if he or she, majority of the time it's a he, goes further with that, it's violation. You don't have to be afraid to tell the cops, yes, I had a drink. I can remember saying no. I know it's something I didn't want. I know people that have gotten pregnant from being raped. Now, there's some way to prevent these things. If you know you don't know a person, if you don't know them too well, you take the precautions you need to, follow your instinct. But for those who are, this is happening to sporadically, outside of the mutual agreement that was, at first hand when you met the person or when you got to know the person, anything after no is violation. You have got to speak up. The more people that speak up, the more that this gets brought to justice. More so than that, it spiritually just ruins you when you can't get this out, when you can't talk about it. It just creeps you out. The way you view sex is so, in a way that it's, it's perverse to you, because you feel like, somebody touch you. Anybody that shows physical attraction to you is one of the things you stray away from. You tend to pick and choose your relationships, revolve around this unknowingly sometimes, like unconsciously you do these things based on the past, some past pain that has caused you to be in defense about it. Now, you've got to talk about this. You'd be surprised how many people go through this. I know I suffer with it sometimes. Nobody who had a partake in it probably even thinks about it that much. I do. Sometimes, and I'm more at peace with it than I've ever been, but at the same time, I know sometimes how I get when a guy looks at me, or I don't want to come on here like somebody who's got everything solved. I know what works, and that's knowing and being aware of who you are and working it from within. I believe in working it from within. I believe in working the soul, putting the soul to work. Like Prince E says, mastering your mindset. That's love yourself from the inside out. And things that happen from the outward end, you won't emotionally attach yourself to, because that's about that person. The person that molested you, the person that raped you, the person that say they loved you, the person that you thought you knew, their family member, your friend, your neighbor down the street, their father. These people have problems that unfortunately exist in our world today heavily, and you don't take this as something you deserve. You don't deserve that kind of treatment. Don't accept that now when you get verbal abuse and physical abuse. You walk down the street and a guy wants to touch your butt because you got on shorts, or you in the gym and you got your shirt off trying to work out, and the girl comes up to touch you, whatever. I've never heard of a story like that, but I don't want to leave the guys out, because this happens to a lot of boys too. It just needs to be spoke about. Speak about this stuff. Go places where you can talk about this. Find a mentor. Find a church member if you go to church. Find social groups. Talk about this boldly. I'm talking about it boldly. I remember my best friend and I did a presentation at her school where she made a CD, a video, a DVD about her and her cousins and sisters who had been molested. And I remember this time happening when I was in high school. I didn't know what it was about, but I remember the period they went through with this, and her brother is in jail still to this day behind that crime he did. And it's not about putting him to rest, but he has a problem. Come to find out, it happened to him. So, by a close family member. So that abuser became an abuser. And you begin to act out this. Like you begin to act out this. And sometimes it chooses the pain from this chooses your sexuality for you. Some people don't choose their sexuality because they are attracted to the same sex. Sometimes it's a defense from the opposite sex that has violated them or hurt them in some kind of way. So anyway, this is my first video. I'm not going to over talk you. I'm going to get to bed soon, and I just wanted to come in love and peace, and I'm not ever trying to change anybody's mind. My goal is to, in the future videos that pop up, is to open your mind to change. Love more, feel less. It's been your girl, Jaco. Peace.